Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. The grifter. People tend to view grifters as Twitter personalities or TikTok and YouTube personalities, people who say things that they don't actually mean, or people who are just being paid to be shills for a particular cause or political party. Regardless of what their personal beliefs are, they're just shilling. They're grifting. But the biggest grifters of all aren't on Twitter, aren't on TikTok, and certainly not YouTube. The biggest grifters are in Washington. The politicians themselves, who take stances and LARP as activists, pretend to be what they know the audience wants, say what their constituents want to hear, and ride the grift, ride the damn gravy train to luxury in paradise. That's really the concept that I want to talk about today, as new revelations and new documents reveal individuals like Eric Swalwell and others are doing what they do best, grifting. But in this case, it's even worse because they're grifting off taxpayer dollars. And of course, campaign funds. Let's delve into the lifestyles of the rich and famous, or in this case, into the lifestyles of these political grifters. In today's segment of Where's the Money Going, we got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so here's a headline that probably won't surprise you at all, not in a bit. Representative Eric Swalwell spent more campaign cash on travel and luxury accommodations than Nancy Pelosi. California Democrat Representative Eric Swalwell apparently likes to live large on campaign cash. He has spent more campaign funds on travel and luxury accommodations in the last 2 years than even Nancy Pelosi. He talks about things like climate change, but he's also a big fan of limos and yachts. Swalwell's campaign spent $583,000 on travel expenses during the 2022 elections, the filings show. Pelosi, by contrast, finished the cycle by putting $434,000 into reported travel expenses, according to a review of her records. Swalwell has consistently used donor funds on limousines, flights, yachts, and posh hotels, including internationally. The spending came as Americans in both his district and across the country faced rising inflation that drove food, fuel, and energy costs through the roof. But as many Americans struggled with skyrocketing prices, Swalwell's campaign lived the high life. Throughout the 2022 elections, its largest travel expenses was $20,000 at the Ritz-Carlton, where his wife was the sales director until 2019, according to her LinkedIn profile. Swalwell's committee also burned through thousands of dollars in Paris, France, including $1,800 early last May at the five-star hotel La Maison Champs-Élysées, where nightly rooms run from around $1,000 to $1,200 per night. I mean, that's a real hefty tab. For one single year, one single election cycle, $583,000 spent on travel. For Eric Swalwell of all people. That right there's how you know it's a scam. The justification, of course, is going to be, well, it was an election season. Eric Swalwell was bouncing around, campaigning, getting votes. No, he wasn't. Eric Swalwell represents a district that is deeply blue. Eric Swalwell received 70% of the votes in his district. He could not campaign a single time, just run campaign ads, and go MIA for the entire election season, and he'd still probably get 70% of the vote. Not to mention, what justifies him traveling to Paris, or really anywhere outside of his district, and especially to the extent of spending nearly $600,000 on travel. You know how much money that is? That's either a ridiculous amount of travel or the most expensive of luxury travel accommodations. And clearly it seems to be a mix of the two. $20,000 spent at the Ritz-Carlton and $1,000 to $1,200 a night hotel suites in Paris, France. Eric Swalwell isn't spending this money working hard campaigning to get change done. He's grifting with this whole anti-Trump persona, using it as a tool to seem as if he's an ally, a Democrat warrior on the front lines, taking it to the corrupt Trump organization and Trump family, to grift donations which he then uses to fund his lavish lifestyle without having to pull salary or live off of his own personal salary. It's the same kind of crap that we highlighted not too long ago with Adam Schiff, the mastermind behind this whole anti-Trump fundraising grift. Of course, you might as well call it the Adam Schiff grift, where he'll post a tweet saying, "I'm going after Donald Trump and that's why they want to remove me from my committee positions." And then immediately right under that post, he'll put a link to the fundraising page on his website. Don't forget to donate so I can continue this battle against Donald Trump. But of course, it's even beyond that. It's also a whole lot more sinister and corrupt, because a lot of this money is coming from corporate lobbyists. And that's why it's nearly impossible to trust these politicians, and it goes on both sides. sides. It's hard to tell who's a legitimate representative, someone who's actually representing their people, their constituents, their voters, and who's a bought and paid for partisan mouthpiece that really is only doing the bidding of their most powerful political contributors. It exists on both sides. Not too long ago we were ragging on Ronna McDaniel, the chairwoman of the RNC, taking fundraising cash to throw lavish parties and fund her lifestyle as well. But of course I have to admit that there is a distinction. Ronna McDaniel's spending track record was mostly being spent on events which, in a certain way, have kind of a political payoff. Eric Swalwell's campaign fund disclosures are a whole different beast entirely. Spending money on lavish hotels, limos, and yachts. The guy's living the life of a playboy, and that kind of lifestyle is probably exactly what got him in trouble with Fang Fang in the first place. The guy's basically Hunter Biden if Hunter Biden had his together. Hunter Biden without the crack problem, I guess you could say. But it's an issue that permeates politics, and I do have to admit, it seems highly prevalent on the Democrat side, and coming from the side that's constantly going on about the billionaire class and dark money, corporate interests and evil capitalists pulling the strings in Washington. It's kind of interesting to see all these politicians, and especially these Democrat politicians, be just as guilty, if not more guilty, of what they're constantly warning about. If you thought Maxine Waters over the last decade funneling over $1 million to her daughter was egregious, well, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The whole political machine is corrupt and broken, and it seems like the loudest and most boisterous, the ones most involved in activism and especially loud activism, tend to be the ones with the most skeletons in their closet. Actually, here's another very interesting piece. Remember 2 months ago we were covering how Stacey Abrams' campaign is officially broke, to the extent that she's unable to pay her campaign staff anymore. The same Stacey Abrams campaign that brought in over $100 million in fundraising. Well, now we're learning that the unquestionable virtue queen herself, Stacey Abrams, has a little bit of an accounting problem, an accounting hole, so to speak. Roughly $500,000 is missing at the Stacey Abrams charity. The financial disclosure revealed a $533,000 consulting payment and a $67,000 grant to the Blackmail Initiative, an obscure charity partially run by UFOT's brother, Edima, who was a former employee of the New Georgia Project. However, the Blackmail Initiative has denied receiving any consulting payment and provided the outlet with its IRS financial disclosures showing no income from consulting and only $255,000 in contributions from all sources in 2021. Oh, well, would you look at that? The oldest accounting trick in the book and probably the most sketchy one. A rogue consulting fee. The good old fake consulting invoice. Let me give my cousin $200,000 and just bill me as a consultant. The holier-than-thou Democrats tend to be the most unholy. Same ones who are constantly complaining about a broken political system controlled by donors are the ones who tend to be completely bought by donors. The same anti-capitalist, socialist clowns tend to be the most greedy capitalists you could find. These politicians are not to be trusted because, frankly, they're not politicians, they're not representatives, they're not serving the people, they're grifters who serve themselves. That's what I got for you guys though. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.